Oh, hi there. Dostoevsky once said that if you want to drive somebody mad, you just need to give them some kind of repetitive task, like pushing a rock back and forth across a road over and over again. If you do that to somebody for long enough, then they're going to lose the will to live, because human beings are designed, so to speak, to keep evolving, to keep growing, keep expanding. And if you get stuck in a rut, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again, life begins to feel really empty and really meaningless, even if the thing that you keep repeating is something that you once enjoyed doing. It's because we're just designed, like I said, to keep bringing new experiences in, making new connections in our brain, and to not just live a life of quiet desperation, just going through the motions. If you do find yourself in that situation, then what you need to do is to make some changes in your life. But how do you do that? Because the problem that I've noticed with people is they start to make changes and they get all hyped up, they get all motivated, start doing affirmations and fingering their belly button and doing rituals in the forest and all these kind of things that people do. But then the energy of change eventually wears away and they find themselves back at square one, pushing that rock back and forth across the road and just generally having a miserable time. If you find yourself in a similar situation, then you need to build momentum and you need to keep the momentum going. And I have a 3-point formula that we're going to talk about in this video that's going to help you to do that. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this formula, let's quickly define momentum for the context of this video. All I really mean by momentum is that you start moving towards your goals, whatever those goals are, with increasing speed and increasing ease. That sounds like a dream, but it is possible, because once you start building that momentum, it's kind of like a snowball. That's the classic metaphor, I suppose. Snowball going down a hill, getting faster and faster and getting bigger and bigger, purely because you've put yourself in the right process. And we can all do that with our lives and our goals if we know what we're doing and we understand how reality actually works, instead of getting all caught up in all kinds of bullshit that holds us back from the truth. And it's normally the bullshit that stops us from either building the momentum in the first place or keeping the momentum going. Bullshit is just an illusion that we project forward and put in our own path that stops that snowball from going down the hill. And the formula, this mysterious formula that I keep alluding to make you keep watching the video, is going to help you to ensure that the ball keeps getting bigger instead of smashing into a tree or something. So let's keep going. So momentum really just means that snowball starts rolling down the hill of life. It gets bigger and bigger. It gets quicker and quicker. And because of that, even though it's a metaphorical snowball, you start to move towards your goals with increasing speed and increasing ease, i.e., you're not just forcing life, you're flowing with it towards the goals that you've set for yourself. That is true momentum, really, putting yourself in the flow and allowing life to assist you as you try to get where you're trying to go. There are a few common barriers to building momentum that we need to know about before we look at this actual amazing magical formula that I am still alluding to but not really telling you anything about, because I'm a horrible clickbaity content creator and I want you to keep watching the video so that YouTube thinks I'm some kind of genius who is really good at retaining people, even though I'm doing it in a horrible, deceptive way. Anyway, the barriers to building momentum are 3 things normally. The first one is that we have some kind of an unconscious block. I've made a video about this already on this channel. If you search for the hamster wheel, then you'll probably find it. But basically what this means is that we have a desire at the level of our conscious mind and who we think we are and our identity and all that kind of stuff. The desire could be anything, any goal. It could be to lose weight. It could be to gain, a relationship or to make more money, whatever it is. That desire is basically worthless, no offense, if at the level of our unconscious intentions, we have something pulling us in a totally different direction. So let's say that you are trying to build momentum towards getting really fit by going to the gym and stuff like that. But the unconscious level, you have an intention to actually not do that because you're scared that if you get really healthy, you get really jacked or whatever, then you're just going to be a magnet for the opposite sex, and you can't handle the pressure. And so you fear the failure. Or maybe you're worried that if you get too jacked and you become too attractive, you're just going to attract haters. It could be literally anything, but ultimately, if you have an intention that is pulling you in the opposite direction, then the momentum is going to stop. That's pretty much guaranteed. The second thing that stops you building momentum is just your ego in general. If your goals have been filtered through your ego, i.e., the image of yourself that you've created to avoid all of your underlying emotional stuff, then ultimately you're chasing things that are fragmented instead of whole. That sounds a bit complicated maybe, but all it means is that your real goals are going to move you towards more wholeness. They're going to be an expression of wholeness. The process of moving towards them is going to connect you to wholeness, and you're going to become more whole once you've attained the goal. If you're filtering it through ego, then it's just a projection of the split that you carry within yourself that has caused you to be fragmented and to chase things that aren't even real for you in the first place. And so if you do that, if you live in that way, you're not going to build momentum, because actually you're going to be falling into the third trap or obstacle that people face when they're trying to build momentum, which is that they're going against reality instead of with it. Going with reality means that you're embracing just the way that life works. The common example of that I always talk about, there are universal laws that are applied to all of us. The most common one is the law of cause and effect. If you're not working with the law of cause and effect, then you're going to just not get results. Like, it's really that simple. And so the momentum is going to stop. Again, if you're filtering things through your ego, then you're going to be chasing things that are unreal. And then eventually that unreality is going to be revealed as the truth is made clear as you go down the path and start to reveal things. Then you're going to realize, okay, the momentum stops, and you're going to give up hope ultimately. So you need to know that, because those obstacles are all going to get in the way, unless you're using this magical formula that I keep talking about, which is going to help you overcome those things and to make sure that you keep moving the snowball in a way that's real, and then it starts moving itself and you get where you want to be. So now it's time in the video where I can finally reveal this magical formula. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint. It's 3 things, like I keep saying, very simple. So I've created a fancy diagram, which should now be on the screen, and it breaks it down. We have momentum in the middle because that's what we're trying to build. And the 3 prongs of this little formula or equation are vision, force to flow, and then outcome independence. I'm going to break these down really quickly, because once you understand it, it's kind of simple. But putting them all together gives you all of the building blocks that you need to keep building momentum and not getting caught up in these traps of stopping and starting, and then giving up in many cases. So let's break these down right now. So the first thing that you need to build momentum is a vision. It's kind of obvious when you think about it. Like, if you don't know where you're going, then you're not going to get there. If you don't know what the point of the game that you're playing is, then you're not going to score any points. Like, ultimately, it's very simple. Having a vision is about getting the clarity that allows you to know how you can use the present moment, whatever's happening to you in current reality, so that you can mold life and navigate it by constantly keeping your eye on where you're going and using anything that happens, any obstacle, any challenge, anything as fuel or as a springboard to moving into that. That comes down ultimately to your attitude, which we'll talk about in the other 2 bits in a second. But first of all, the thing that you need more than anything is a real vision. That means that you might have to do a little digging inside yourself first, figure out what you really want. I've used this quote like 1,003 times now, but Abraham Maslow, the guy who found Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he said that the rarest thing in the world is knowing what we really want. He said it's a rare psychological achievement. Most people don't know what they want because they're running around on autopilot. Like, I fell inside trap for years and years. Many people do that. They're just running around just on autopilot, like I said, because they've never stopped to think about what they actually want. Basically, figuring out what you really want means figuring out your real values and then turning it into a vision. That just means saying, right, I value creativity, I value truth, I value this, that, the other, and then translating that into some kind of a goal or action. That's the best starting point. You don't have to make it complicated. Either way, if you don't have the vision, then you're not going to build momentum, because whatever happens to you right now on a day-to-day basis as you're going through life, you're not going to be moving in a concentrated, strategic direction. So create a vision, first and foremost. That is going to get the ball rolling. And to get it moving quicker and quicker, You need the other two parts of this equation. The second thing that you need to get going and to build momentum is force. Now, force, if you do it right, eventually becomes flow. But if you take the snowball metaphor that we keep using, initially it might take some force to get it moving in the first place, to push it down the hill. This is assuming it's already like a decent sized snowball. Either way, let's run with this metaphor, right? So you need some force to get it going. This is where a lot of people fuck up, pardon my French. And the reason that they fuck up is because they think that you can just go straight into the flow state. You kind of can, but if you do, then the flow state that you go into isn't going to be moving you towards your vision. It's just going to be giving you more and more of what you've already got. And so you're not actually going to be changing your life. And so if you are wanting to try and change your life, then just going straight into flow, being so open-minded that your brains fall out, is not going to help you. And so you need some force or some effort before things can flow or become effortless. As it does pick up speed, it will naturally become more effortless. And the other thing that makes it more effortless is that at the start of the journey, when you push the snowball down the hill, you're one version of yourself and you have all kinds of habitual ways of thinking and you have all kinds of behaviors that stem from those habitual ways of thinking and blah, 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 blah. But as you move down the hill, or as the snowball moves down the hill, you're going to replace those habits with things that are more real. More real means that they're actually going to serve you. They're going to be aligned with who you really are and all that kind of stuff. And so the unconscious habits that you have as the snowball is picking up speed are going to be different to the ones that you have to force yourself to push the snowball down the hill in the first place. That's because ultimately, by going from point A to point B, changing your life, i.e., being at the top of the hill, forcing the snowball down to get to the point where it's really just building speed and momentum, you're going to be a different person at those 2 points. And the thing that is making the difference is you'll have changed some of your habits, you'll have changed some of the ways of thinking and perceiving and being in the world. And ultimately, to be able to do that, it takes force. And actually, even though I keep talking about the force being about pushing the snowball down the hill, the force is actually about training yourself to let go of all the things that stop you going with it and building that momentum. And so ultimately, this is a convoluted way of saying that in those initial stages, once you've got the vision, it's going to take some effort. You have to put some effort in. A lot of people, believe it or not, don't do that. They think, okay, I've got my vision. Now I'm just going to close my eyes and figure my belly button again, and the universe is just going to give me everything I want. No, you have to put some effort into it so you can start building the momentum and getting where you need to be. The final thing that you need to build momentum and keep it going is outcome independence. Outcome independence really just means that once you've determined the goal, which is your vision, basically, or the goals that make up the vision, once you've got that, you take your ego out of the equation, you detach from the goals and what it means to achieve them and what it says about you as a person to have got to that point, and you focus on the process instead. If you focus on the process, not the goals, then you're going to be more responsive to life as it happens. That's going to make it more likely that you're going to achieve your goals, because only if you're responsive instead of just reacting are you actually going to be able to navigate reality itself and what's happening, what's presenting itself to you as you keep moving towards that vision, i.e. you lock onto the vision, but you're kind of dancing with life instead of just kind of trying to make sure everything sticks to the plan. The reason that we try and make sure everything sticks to the plan exactly is because we've lapsed into control freakery, because our ego is attached to the goal. We feel like if we do not achieve that goal, whatever it is, if we do not reach that vision, then we're just like a worthless human being or something. And so all of our good feelings and self-acceptance have been kind of projected onto that vision, whatever it is. That ironically keeps us away from the reality of moving towards a vision. And so what you need to do, like I said, detach from it, focus on the process, and then you can be in the zone. If you combine that with the initial force to flow arm of this little equation, then it means that, okay, in the initial stages, you're going to be putting in this effort, but then as you start building up speed, you can let go and you can just be in the process, enjoying the journey, which means that your energy is going to be better. You're going to be, you're not going to be holding yourself back with illusions and ego and negative self-talk and all that kind of stuff. That means you're going to take the inspired action that arises on the way as the snowball keeps kind of snowballing. And you're going to do the things that you need to do to get to the vision. A lot of the time, people don't do the things they need to do because they're blinded by their attachment to the goal and what they think it means. But once you know what the goal is, let go of it. You can be outcome independent. That is paradoxically going to increase the odds of you getting where you need to be. The snowball is going to keep moving and life is going to be good. So that was me stumbling my way through this video, ranting, raving, but ultimately telling you how to build momentum in life. What did we just cover? We covered what momentum is. It's basically a process that you can put yourself in of moving towards your goals or your vision with increased speed and increased ease. The way that you do that is by understanding some of the obstacles along the way and then following the equation or formula that I gave you that is going to help you to overcome those things. Just as a little review at the end of the video, that means you figure out your vision, you lock onto it, you put some effort or force into making things happen, making the changes that you need to make with your relationships with yourself, and your identity, and anything that's holding you back from moving in that direction. As you move forward with that, the amount of effort that you need to put in is going to become less and less because the snowball is going to snowball. The other thing that you need to do, though, is that you need to take your ego and yourself and your attachment to the vision out of the equation and to just focus on the process from moment to moment, one day to the next, so that you can stay in the flow of wholeness, not let all the fragmented ideas in your head hold you back, and you can keep going with it instead of going against it, which means that you're going to get where you need to be. So hopefully that helps you. If it didn't, I apologize. And, well, maybe I don't apologize. I apologize. Okay, I apologize because, I was trying to help you and I failed as a human being. Anyway, yeah, that's how you build momentum. You do those three things, you keep locked on, you take the action, and then you'll get where you need to be. So, peace to you. Hope that helps. And see you in the next video.